It's the next level.
Hey, my name is Ross Marquand, and I play Red Skull. You are listening to Panels to Pixels podcast. Check it out.
I'm hungry. We'll have the chicken fried steak. Well done. With a side of mashed potatoes and gravy. All blended together.
And for you?
Whiskey.
No whiskey.
What?
This is a family establishment. Chicken meat shakes is one thing, but if you want whiskey on top of it, you boys best keep moving on.
About turtle pie. Have you ever had that before? It's really good. Delicious. It's better than whiskey, I bet. Not my turtle pie, please. Not blended.
Panels to Pixels, Preacher Season 4, Episode 3. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And Steve, we're talking about episode 3, Deviant, and this was a really enjoyable episode in my opinion. I really liked the action and everything that went on into it.
Yeah, and I love the episode. I want to say I'm really enjoying the season, and I really hope that this whole back and forth kind of we talked about it in the last podcast. This back and forth kind of storytelling method. I hope it ends up working, and we'll get into it when we get in our top 5, but let's do a synopsis for episode 3, Deviant. And just a reminder to everyone who's listening to this is a spoiler-full review of Preacher Season 4, Episode 3. So if you have not already watched the show and you don't want to get spoiled or anything, stop now, go back, watch the show, and then come back to us.
Yeah, go watch it. What are you doing here?
Why are you even listening to us if you haven't watched the episode already? Like, I don't even know why we have to give this disclaimer, but we do it. Every podcast does it. Anyway, So in this episode, we get to see what happened when Jesse went into the entertainment house. Last episode, when he got his boots back, we get reacquainted with Eugene and the Saint as they take a little break from their travels and get something to eat. And we have Cassidy making a new friend, and he's facing possible relocation. And Tulip is psychoanalyzed by a real creepy doctor. And we get a one small highlight of the episode is we get a Hoover too. So, along with everything else that happened in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
So, Mark, why don't you kick off our top fives?
Sure. My number 5 would be I Still Laugh Even Though It's Bad. But Cassidy getting circumcised over and over again. But now in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. The opening scene is just got me with like the advertisement that they used as like a facial cream. Oh, it's like, what is this, erotic facial cream? Yeah, that was pretty much it. That got me, and that made me laugh a lot.
Yeah, and I love, that's my number 5 as well, is this opening scene. And I love, if you notice on the bottle, it actually said "now with more foreskin." And that's what kind of, when I first saw this started, when the title card comes up and it says Bensonhurst, I'm like, what's going on? And then we see Cassidy, we see this little machine that's cutting him and he's regrowing. And then we realize that when I see the bottle, we realize that, okay, this is some kind of, or we see, when we see Cassidy get thrown back into the cell, we realize that, oh, okay, this is like either in his imagination or maybe, the mobster guy is Frankie Toscani is describing to him what he's going to do to him. And that's what we're seeing here. We're not actually seeing, something that's going to happen. I mean, maybe it's going to happen. We don't know for sure, but, so it did make me laugh. Like I said, when I saw that now with more, I want you to key in on the point, everybody, if you didn't hear me, now with more foreskin. like it had some before. And now there's
because they got more off of Cassidy.
Ew.
He could regrow it, and they cut it. They regrow it. Make more ears out of it. I don't
know. Ew. Oh, so what was your number 4?
That would be Arseface and the Saint of Killers. How they get along, and the Saint saves Arseface at some point. It seems both are growing on one another in some way, just the way they're getting along, especially in the diner. And then after the scene after, it's like the Saint Killer comes and saves him.
Yeah, I actually had this down in my notes a little bit about this whole these guys together, and I think it's a really kind of a cool. We got bits and pieces of it, but now we're getting the real road trip of Eugene and the Saint of Killers here. We see that Eugene, and what occurred to me as I watched this a couple times this week is Eugene is still an innocent for as much as he's gone through.
Yeah.
I mean, I forgot until he said, "I've got my learner's permit." I forgot that he was like 16 years old.
Yeah.
When this whole thing started. And so he's still just a kid. And despite all the stuff that he's been through, not like not knowing what a glory hole is and that,
that was terrible.
Just the innocence that he has and the innocence that he's holding on to. And part of me hopes that he's able to hold on to that innocence throughout the rest of the series, that he never loses that. I really hope that happens, because I really appreciate the fact that, when they're in the car, he's praying for that the man who Saint killed is going to go to heaven. He's praying that God will forgive the Saint for killing that guy. And we just see that Eugene is a genuine character here. He's not, like I said, he's just an innocent. And I sure hope we don't lose that.
Oh, same here. I always thought Eugene as being an innocent, and he was thrown to hell by Jesse just at a word, just because of the words and everything he used, on a whim.
Yeah.
And he's been there. He had to go through that during, how many seasons was that? 2 or 3?
Just season. Yeah. Well, he got sent there about, I want to say towards the end, about 3/4 of the way through season 1 is when he disappears.
Yeah.
And Jesse sends in hell. We don't see him again until the beginning of season 2. And that's when we actually see him in his hell in season 2. And then he and Hitler escape from hell. And then in season 3 is when the Saint came after them and was going to bring them back. But I don't remember how he convinced the Saint not to take him back to hell with him, and the Saint went and killed Satan, and he ended up only taking, that's what it is. At the end of season 3, Eugene basically gets the Saint to admit that Eugene doesn't deserve to be in hell. And so the Saint doesn't take him back to hell, but he does take Hitler back to hell, and he kills Satan. And that's when season 3, towards the end of season 3 is when Hitler assumes Satan's role as being in charge of hell. So he was basically in hell for about half a season, maybe depending on how far into season 1 it was when he went down there. So, but like I said, I love the fact that it hasn't taken away his innocence. He's still that same kid.
Yeah. And I think that kind of ran true through the comic from what people told me.
Good.
I should really have read the trade on it, but I have not. But
yeah, I've still got the first one, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be picked up. Also, read it with a grain of salt, because obviously this is kind of wacky. Just like I said, as wacky as The Boys are, but also that's another Seth Rogen property that is on Amazon Prime. So
exactly.
We're on to your number 4, right?
My number 4, yes. My number 4 is the closed captionings for the app called this character Archangel. Is what they call he doesn't. I like, my vision of what an archangel would be is not what this guy looks like, but okay, that's what. But I just loved him trying to bond with Cassidy. He starts by trying to call out to Cassidy's kind of violent nature. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna rip him to shreds and we're gonna tear him apart." And then when he sees that Cassidy is basically a broken man at this point, he's resigned himself to his fate, that he's going to be taken away, and he's gonna, this is gonna be his fate, this being chopped up for facial cream for the rest of his life. And so I love that when that doesn't really work for him to ingratiate or to him to get into Cassidy's mind, he kind of changes tactics, and he starts saying some good things. He does this quote from Hoosiers, and I thought what was really interesting to me about the whole Hoosiers quote was he says, when they almost won the championship. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen that movie before, and I'm pretty sure they win at the end. So I'm not sure what movie he was watching. And I even looked it up to make sure I was remembering it correctly. And yes, in the movie they win, and in real life they win. So I don't know if that was supposed to be a jab at the unrealisticness of the movie, even though it is based on a true story. But I just thought that was funny also. And just the fact that he ends up turning Cassidy kind of to his side, and they become friends. They're singing drinking songs by the end of the episode.
Yeah, that got me too. As well as since it also, when he was having that conversation with the Archangel, he was drumming up like a lot of memories and thoughts of when he became a vampire and everything too.
Yeah. Which is right, leads us right to your number 3.
Yeah. And that my number 3 would be, definitely Cassidy's history, that we see in this episode when he became a vampire in Ireland. We get that historical view of what it was and the reason why he didn't reconnect with his own family. That was really awesome to see. And why he left his family is because he couldn't really live there. It was a little bit more of an insight into Cassidy, and I just feel that he's such an interesting character, and I'm glad we're actually getting to get all this information about the character, even though it's like we've had little snippets here and there, like with his son and like his adventures and everything else.
Yeah, I had this, again, this is another one of those things that I had down in my notes is the fact that we find out that his first name is Proncius. Literally, I had to back up on the closed captioning. Proncius, Proinsias. I think I spelled it down. Is Cassidy's actual first name? They say it several times in the episode, and I just thought that was interesting. I've never heard of that name before. And we also get confirmation. I know we kind of discussed this in our last podcast that if he was turned into a vampire in 1916, that means definitely he was a vampire when he fathered Dennis, because Dennis wasn't 100 years old or over 100 years old. Dennis was like 80 or something like that. So he definitely had fathered Dennis. And I believe, as I was doing some research on this, in the Preacher Wiki, the character of Dennis, I believe, is not in the comic book. So we don't have that relationship there. So that was something that was just put in, I believe, for the TV show. So we don't have that mythology of a vampire fathering a child.
But it makes for interesting TV, which I like.
Oh, it was great. Oh, yeah, it was great to see that, and just great to know that. I just found it interesting that if you work out the continuity of it, if they really worked out the continuity, that it had to be he was a vampire when he fathered Dennis.
Meaning that his other parts are still working.
Apparently so. That's the impression I get. So that brings us to my number 3.
Yes.
Is that angel feather. And I really liked that. Again, that was another one of those things that we see. We just get a quick glimpse of after Cassidy has told the angel about his past, about how he was changed into a vampire. We see the angel we hear this fluttering, and that angel feather kind of floats down and sets in front of Cassidy, and we don't see it. It happens because I had to back up and check this out, on different watchings of it, because I couldn't remember where it happened. It happens about 20 minutes into the episode, but we don't see that feather again until the very end of the episode, when we see that Cassidy has it in his hands. So I'm going to be interested to see how that feather plays into Cassidy's escape attempt. I'm assuming he's going to try to escape now that he's been given. And the impression I got from his relationship there with the angel is that he's not broken anymore. He's got some sort of sense of purpose. He's got some sort of way that he's going to be able to get out of this. Cause he's got that, you can see that smile under the mask as they're taking him away at the end of the episode, and he's got the feather in his hand. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes back for the angel or if Tulip releases the angel. Cause, right there at the end of the episode, we have Tulip breaking into his cell and seeing the angel there, and the angel saying, "Oh, I missed him. I miss him already," and then Tulip runs out. And so we don't know if maybe Tulip's going to go back and release the angel. We don't know if we're going to have this guy further down the road, but that's, I'm going to be looking for that next episode to see if we get the angel back into the regular narrative.
Yeah, that would be awesome though, to have the angel there.
Yeah. And I don't know if he's a character in the comic book or not.
Me neither, but I think it's a really interesting character to have. It would be, if you remember the movie Michael with John Travolta, having an angel around, and who knows what powers that the angel has. I don't know if it would be through suggestion or whatever. He is an archangel, as like what you stated before, so who knows?
Yeah, very interesting. So your number 2?
Yep, my number 2 would be Tulip's vision of what she thinks of Jesse while in the hospital. Seemed to be a little drug-induced, but there was something there. I'm not sure what, but there was some sort of underlining meaning in it, because it looked like he was attacking her, putting her down, and was that her own interpretation of how she feels Jesse is towards her subconsciously, or is that the drugs talking,
Yeah. And I couldn't tell. This is my number 2 as well. I couldn't tell if this was a dream that she was having or like you said, like a vision, like he's having visions of them. And I was really surprised at the wording as she's recalling reading the letter that he left, that it just seemed out of character for him, to call her, a lying, cheating B-word, and so I really I'm interested to see going forward if we find out if that's actually what was written in the letter, if maybe God, came in and switched the words of the letter, or if that's actually how Jesse feels toward her. Maybe he does. Maybe he feels that betrayed at the fact that she had sex with Cassidy. And if you remember, if you go all the way back to the first season, when she and Cassidy have sex, she tells him, "Don't ever tell Jesse." And Cassidy thinks, "Oh, it'd be fine. I can tell him and it won't matter." But she very pointedly in the first season told him, "Don't you ever tell him."
Yeah.
That we had sex. So, I don't know if maybe she just knew that was going to be the breaking point for the relationship, or, if she's in. So it's going to be interesting in the next episode to see what comes of that part of it.
Or that was the purpose or reason why they were no longer together, because there are other underlining things that we don't know about when they initially broke up and when he left originally to pursue being a preacher and all that.
Oh, well, it was because, so if you remember, and you may not, I can't remember if this was in the second season or the third season, is the reason he left her to go back to his daddy's church is because she lied to him. They were trying to have another baby. If you remember, the reason they killed she wanted to kill Carlos was because she lost her baby when Carlos abandoned them at the bank heist. And then when it goes to the flashbacks of when he left her to go back to Annville, he discovers that he's trying to not do crime. Is what he's trying to not be a criminal, and he finds out that she's been doing criminal activities. Yeah. And that she's lied to him about it. And that she's also been taking birth control when they've been trying to have another child. And that's the breaking point for him when he leaves and goes back to Annville, is when he discovers that lie.
Which makes me think, though, if she tells Cassidy not to say anything to Jesse, maybe we don't know that she's pregnant.
Maybe. I think it's been long enough that we would have
known already.
Or some sort of sign, or they would have. I mean, and especially all that she's been through with dying and coming back to life.
You never know.
So I mean, it's possible. I wouldn't put it past the show, but I really think we've had. I mean, they don't give us a time frame of how long it's been from the first season to now.
Exactly. That's the only reason why it comes to my brain.
It's possible. Maybe.
Because it sounds to me like the way everything is going from the first 3 seasons, like it was a matter of like months.
Yeah, like I said, you bring up an interesting thought that might be, but I just don't. I think that would be a stretch if the writers tried to bring her being pregnant into it. I think that would be a stretch for me anyway.
Be reaching out.
You never know. So you're number 1?
My number 1. Well, this is a doozy because I was smiling and grinning ear to ear with this one. Jesse's attack in the house, trying to get Tulip back. The music was from one of my favorite music artists, Dick Dale, in the very beginning, but it switches towards the end. Plus, the visual was amazing in it. It looked like a classic portrait of a painting. I'm not going to say biblical, but in a sense that it was widescreen, it was shot in the way it was. Then you had that cool, Matrix point of view with the sudden stop motion during the middle of the scene when Jesse's fighting and battling all these people, but nobody's ever taking him down at some point in certain areas. It's pretty funny. It was a painting within the scene to be of violence, though. It was just consistently going.
Yeah, it was really good. And when I went back and rewatched that specific scene, actually I backed it up to watch just that sequence was really, really good because it starts out, it actually goes the other way around from what you said. It starts out with the Nutcracker Suite is the first orchestra kind of thing as the fight starts. Then it goes into, I think Sleeping Beauty, Tchaikovsky's Sleeping Beauty, and then it goes into the Dick Dale kind of surf music, kind of thing. And when it goes to the Dick Dale, what you were talking about, there's a shot, that widescreen shot you're talking about is great because it actually does look like a comic book panel because it's broken up into 3 basic screens almost. And you see the action with Jesse in the middle and the people coming from the sides coming at him and attacking him. And you actually, if you watch, you can see other people on the side of that scene pushing others to him and some trying to run and people grabbing them. And it's a really great, and just the way it was shot and everything about that scene is really, really cool. And it reminded me a lot of when in the Chris Nolan Batman, when I think it's, the Ra's al Ghul character tells Batman, I'm going to teach you how to fight thousands, cause that's basically what Jesse's doing here. He's fighting 30 or 40 people all by himself, and succeeding. And it was great because as I watched it, I didn't notice it on the first watch, but on the second watch, and the third watch, you can actually see when that bullet goes through that door. The way they film it, they show you the trajectory of the bullet and you see the sunlight coming through the bullet hole of the door.
Huh.
When you can actually see he shoots a guy and then it's the next shot after that. And we see, I don't know if we see the track of the bullet or if we see the sunlight coming through the hole in the door. I think that's the way it is you actually see the sunlight coming back through the hole that next shot causes through the door. So even though, we don't know until he opens the door what has happened to that bullet, but we definitely see that bullet was fired, maybe not by Jesse because he was holding the other guy's hand on the gun when that bullet fired. But it was interesting to see the second, third time that you can actually see. And then, I wonder if that's partially why Jesse descends into such a dark play. I mean, he crushes that guy's skull.
Yeah.
When he comes back up and he just violently, and to the point where when the pilot sees it, even the pilot is like, what kind of preacher are you? Cause he's seeing Jesse just stomp this guy's head. And so, we've seen this before, especially when he leaves Tulip or when he feels that he's been, his heart has been broken by Tulip. He kind of descends into this very dark, kind of violent place. And so I think it's going to be interesting what we see from Jesse going forward.
And your number 1?
My number 1 is just Tulip and that creepy doctor. I really, when he touched your shoulder the first time, I remember going, ooh. And then when he did it the second time, I was like, ooh, buddy, this is you're walking into a bad situation here. And then she tells him, you've just touched my shoulder twice and I'm fine. And then he grabs her a third time and you just know it's going into a fight. And that was just another one of those great fight scenes where we've got a great kind of rock and roll kind of song going. I'm really glad we've gotten back to the music with these fight scenes because I missed that in the first couple episodes. And that whole ink blot test scene when he's showing her the ink blotch and she's like, oh, that's blood spatter from a 44 caliber. Oh, that's blood and brains. Oh, that's intestines. Oh, wait. And some blood and brains. And it just made me laugh. And then when Featherstone comes to the clinic, when she's figured out that Tulip is there in Masada and she finds the bed that Tulip was in and she looks at it and obviously he's written that she's a lunatic on the chart. And she says to the doctor, you released her and she's a lunatic. And the doctor goes, well, there's no cure for that. Just absurd that. So I just really, that whole scene with her and when the nurse sticks her with the tranquilizer and she's like, nobody touches me, and she falls out. Yeah. It's just great. And I just love, I'm really enjoying the editing of the show, the camera work, what they're doing, the kind of different things that they're doing. Like we talked about with that whole chase scene through the dust and the ravine last episode. And now we have these couple of fight scenes. Like you were saying, I love those scenes when you see a character when a knife is coming at them and they do that freeze frame thing where the character leans back and that knife barely misses them. I just think that's a really cool shot.
Yeah.
To do. So
those were our top 5s.
Yeah, I had a couple of quotes here that I thought was really. I loved when they go to the diner and Eugene orders his chicken meat shake and Saint tries to order whiskey and the waitress says, "This is a family establishment. Chicken meat shakes is one thing, but if you want whiskey on top of it, you boys best keep moving on." Yeah. And I really that waitress reminded me a whole lot. It wasn't the same actress, but reminded me a whole lot of the pianist from the first season who was a waitress as well. She would have died in Anvil, obviously, when the town blew up.
Yeah.
But she reminded me a lot of her. I thought that was really, really great.
The one I have would be, great, I've never been a great hemorrhager before. And that would be Tulip.
Yeah, that was it. And then my last one was just the at the end there when he's got the pilot and they're in the car and he's forgotten his pants and he tells the pilot, "You don't need your pants." So he says, "We're going to the airport and I don't need pants." This pilot guy is funny.
Yeah, it is. The second one would be the kid, or was it Jesse that states it? I forget.
No, it's the kid. You got it right.
All right. The kid that Jesse that steals from Jesse actually in the very beginning. Was it with the boots? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kid goes, "A kid that is making $35 an hour in a third world country, you have a problem, bro?" And that was to Jesse after he gets her and it looks like she's doing tricks in the house for creepy old men. And she seemed okay with it, which is wild.
She's making $35 an hour in a third world country, I mean, you can't fault it. I mean, I just, no, I'm with you. I almost had that one as one of mine as well. Had a couple of notes here that we haven't talked about yet. We briefly talked about, I briefly mentioned Hoover 2 in the synopsis, but I really like that Hoover 2 is not being just a yes man. When he asks him the question, do you think I'm beautiful or attractive or something like that? The guy very plainly says no. And then when Featherstone comes in and she's talking about Tulip, he's like, well, she's very clearly hysterical, So, I just kind of like this guy and I'm interested. I would not have put it past Featherstone to pull out her gun and shoot him right when he said that, but there's probably, she probably has more self-control than that, especially with the Allfather right there, because he's probably got to give her the order to kill somebody. And then that conversation between Hitler and Jesse was kind of interesting. First off, the fact that Hitler apparently can travel back and forth now as I guess because he's in charge of hell, he can just do whatever he wants and travel back and forth. The fact that Jesse hasn't ever met him, but he knows exactly who he is as soon as he sees him. I thought that was interesting. And just their whole conversation where he makes Hitler choke himself and tells him that he's got a power and he's going to find God. And Hitler's like, no, you're not going to find God. And, which is another kind of funny thing, because we know every step that Jesse's been so far, God has been there.
Yeah.
God was in Masada came to Masada just after Jesse left. And then he was in the house there at the end of the episode. So we're getting that idea that we talked about in the last podcast, that God is kind of, controlling these things, or this is all part of his design, as Eugene keeps saying. Which
we see at the end, too, if you think about it, because he's laying everything out in like figure form and maps and little things, like a little play set.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I thought the show as a whole was really fun to watch. This episode particularly, I really had a good time watching it.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Like I said, I've now, my pattern has kind of become, I'm watching these things 3 times. And in the third watch, I'll back it up and I'll fast forward and I'll rewind and I'll watch specific scenes and things. Cause I'm trying to see if there's any other differences between the broadcast version and the app version. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I watched, like I said, when I watched it 3 times, and I even went back and specifically watched that fight scene in the house an extra time just to see kind of what was going on there. And I wanted to see what was going on with the feather. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm anxious to see going forward. I'm going to check again and see if it's 10 episodes or 13, but
yeah, definitely. So that was pretty much it for like our overall notes, but in comic talk, I just want to bring up, everybody, if you're an Avengers fan, Marvel fan, Avengers Endgame came out on Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray. I got it on 4K Blu-ray. Just watched the extra credits, obviously, last night real quick before I went to bed. And like all the bonus features and everything, I watched that.
Does it have the Captain America deleted scene with the Red Skull?
No.
Okay, because I read an article about that, and I wondered, I have the disc, but I haven't had a chance to explore it.
I didn't see it in there in any deleted scene.
Because they talked about that there was a deleted scene that had the meeting between Captain America and the Red Skull.
Yeah, all he would say is, Steve, you son of a gun. But, yeah, the coolest part is that you get the tribute to Stan Lee, and that brings a tear to your eye when you watch it, and then definitely what they should have left in the actual movie itself was everybody kneeling. Well, except for Gamora and walking away. Because that was Gamora of 2014, not of Gamora of, 5 years later or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, so I need to watch it again. Even after 3 times in the theaters, I'm anxious to rewatch it when I get a chance.
And seeing it on 4K on my TV with the 4K Blu-ray player and a 4K TV, it was amazing.
So it is worth it. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely worth it. Add that to your collection. I'm hoping that they would have an unedited version come out, and I'm hoping by Christmas. Come on, that they're going to do something to market and get more money out of it.
Yeah,
because
I would hope so.
Apparently the fight scene when Thanos finally comes in and attacks, that fight scene, they said there was 18 minutes more footage. Hopefully they resolve all the extra footage that they had of CG and they just add it in. So that would be interesting from the deleted scenes that they had. It would make it cooler, make it longer, and fun. Yeah. Like a director's cut. And I think that would be best.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Because I didn't go see it, but they came out with an extended cut, like that had a few more minutes in it in the theaters a couple months ago. That's what pushed it over. Yeah. Avatar was, and I can't remember what somebody said. It wasn't anything story related.
They didn't have anything finished though. It was all animatics and certain scenes.
Okay.
So if I went to go see that, I would have been upset for the fact that I'm sorry, I want to see a finished product. If you're going to add in these scenes, and it's like,
so it wasn't actually finished scenes. It was, that's
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's like, why would you throw the, oh, you just want people to see this so that
Yeah.
you get, obviously I wanted it go past Avatar myself and be the number one, which it finally did.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for it. But the thing is that I would want to see all that stuff finished. If you were trying to figure that out, you would spend the extra money that you've already made from the movie and put that into, doing a finalized and just editing that stuff in. And then there you go, re-release it out.
Yeah. That's
But,
a little disappointing.
Hopefully they'll do that for the director's cut and then add the extra 17 minutes of footage that they deleted out from the fight scene.
So I have one podcast recommendation that I want to put out for you guys, and that's The Warrant Is All on Solo Talk Media. That's a Killjoys podcast that I send in feedback to. Also, as Mark and I have already mentioned, is TV Podcast Industries is doing a review of The Boys. We will probably do a review of The Boys after we finish up Preacher.
We'll do it as a whole for the whole
Yeah.
season. And there's some tidbits in there that I like to throw in there. That
Yeah, I want to
get
talk
some
about
information. Yeah, so
I finished the series, the Boys season 1 now, so I'm interested to go back and watch it again and write down some notes for a podcast for sure.
oh, definitely, yeah. These are that would probably be an extra long one. So that way you'll probably be about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on if we get people on it. But my feeling is I think that's one that deems credit to actually do a podcast about, just to review it as a whole for the season. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I loved it. But it kind of made me cringe at times.
Yeah.
But it's one of those that if you're a comic fan, even if you never read the trade like I did, I never read it, but I heard about it. And it made me want to go see it. Now it's making me want to go find an old trade of it. And I have to go to my comic shop this week, so I might just pick up the trade just to read it.
Cool.
The only other thing that I have to add would be, please give us a review and rating if possible on Apple Podcasts. It's no longer Apple iTunes, it's Apple Podcasts, because Apple is looking to get rid of the iTunes brand and everything. So if you go to Apple Podcasts, give us a review. That would be great. You could also hear us on Google Play as well and on Spotify. So just keep that in mind.
You can check out our new website, which is www.panels2pixelspodcast.com. That will redirect you to our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/panels2pixels. That's a great way to connect with us. We haven't had a lot of feedback so far, but we're going to try to get a little better about putting up feedback posts and maybe some live threads or watch threads if we can do it on a Sunday night. And, other than that, you can also email us at panels2pixels1@gmail.com. That's panels2pixels1. The 2 is right there in the middle, spelled out, T-O, and the 1 is the number 1 at the end at gmail.com. Send us an email or a voicemail. We'd love to get voicemails. I don't think we've had, but have we had any so far?
No, I have not
No.
received any.
We have not had a voicemail on this podcast yet. So I'm challenging somebody. Send us a voicemail. I don't care about Jessica Jones, Marvel, about
Anything.
anything. Send us a voicemail. We want to hear what you sound like. You hear what we sound like all the time. I love sending in voicemails to podcasts. I love it. I love it. I love to hear people laugh when they hear my voice come on because I'm saying something funny, hopefully not because they're amused at me. I hope. Anyway, yeah, send us some feedback at our Facebook group or at our email or at our webpage, panels2pixelspodcast.com.
And with that, we will be podcasting next week. That would be August 22nd, the Thursday of 2019. So if you could send us any feedback, please leave it on our Facebook page or our Gmail and have that in by August 21st, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And that would be awesome if you guys could do that, because that way we could get your comments, your thoughts on the episode that's coming out on August 18th. And then that way we could incorporate it into our podcast. The more the merrier. We love everybody's input, anybody's thoughts. So,
All right. Any last thoughts, Mark?
I always think a lot of things, but I don't know.
Well, Mark's gathering his final thoughts. Just check me out. I submit feedback to various different podcasts. Legion Cast just wrapped up the show Legion. The other day, I sent in feedback to them. As I mentioned before, I sent in for Killjoys. I'm sending in for Lost, for We Have to Go Back, Lost Revisited, Rewatch, all these podcasts. I love sending them my feedback, and you can hear my voice if you like it. And if you don't, you can fast forward through it.
Yeah, and if you listen to the Walking Dead talk through or Walking Dead cast, you'll hear two different versions of his feedback, which is pretty cool. I think it's awesome to hear two different versions. Like, I'll listen to Jason's podcast and be like, oh, that's Steve.
I actually felt bad this week when I was listening to Walking Dead cast, because I realized that a lot of the points they were saying were in my voicemail that I sent to Walking Dead talk through. So
you copy.
No, it was just the fact that it just happened to be that everything that I think it was Lucy, a lot of the same points that she had were the same things that I had already thought about, and we just agreed on a lot of things. But it wasn't in my voicemail that I sent to them. It was in the voicemail that I sent.
And keep in mind, everybody, Jason gets his podcast out literally pretty much like a day or two after the episode airs. We get ours out probably, I would say, about 4 to 5 days afterwards. So there's no way for them to actually get that information from Steve from our podcast.
No, it was just fun. It was fun to hear, and I can't wait to hear Walking Dead talk through this week.
Yeah, and with that, you could also hear me with Brian Malash and Kyle on talkthroughmedia.com. That's the new website for our podcast, which would be for Walking Dead Talk Through, the new Picard cast, Star Trek, what is it? Discovery. See, I don't even get involved in that. I can't remember. I'm terrible. I'm a bad friend. And, you know, we're going to have all these podcasts. We're looking into having another person come on with another podcast as well, possibly. So, Talk Through Media is coming along. It has a soft open, so you could actually go to talkthroughmedia.com and see the list of podcasts that we have. We have older podcasts. We have the Star Trek Discovery podcasts there for the most part. We have all of the Walking Dead talk through, including Fear the Walking Dead talk through. Kyle's currently working on the editing of this week's tonight as we record. So by the time you hear this, you could actually go hear the new Fear the Walking Dead talk through. And with that, we're working on other things like an actual email for feedback for those particular podcasts, as well as a call-in number, so that way you could actually reach out with voicemail, which actually I'm looking to do for this particular podcast myself. So that way you could just call a number and I'll be able to download it. And then if you have anything you want to just say voice-wise, it'd be awesome. That way we could just play it.
Very cool.
And go from there. So there's a lot of things in the pipeline right now for all of us to do, including this podcast, and not just Talk Through Media. We always recommend that you go out and listen to everybody on the Next Level Podcast Network. There are so many other podcasts on the network for Next Level that are awesome. I would definitely check out the Celebrity Spotlight with Ben Beck. Definitely We Have to Go Back with Ben and Kristen. And there's a few others that just eludes my mind at the moment, but I love them all, and I love being part of this network too. So thank you everybody for listening. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this was Panels to Pixels. Good night, everybody.